Kirsten, I am really happy to have you here. We've talked about this for a little while about having you as a guest because I find your story to be truly fascinating. Your journey of post-traumatic growth recovery journey, moving forward in life and becoming somebody who not only has is in recovery from, as you say, severe alcoholism and 10 years of Adderall abuse. And now you are here in the world to share your story and to inspire others to create whatever magic in the world that they have. And you have a really good story about being at a crossroads or a fork that I want to talk about a little bit later here, a fork in your road. But would you like to just give our audience, whoever's in here watching live on our Evolution University, just give them a little background on who you are and where you're going with your journey of hope, recovery, and magic.
Very cool. I will try to be efficient and like cover it in a nutshell.
Just let it come through, whatever it needs to.
Basically, I feel that I was escaping in life for like 15 years. Like, I had no goals really. I was just very lost. I was maybe focusing on relationships, even friendships, just frequency, familiarity with needing that with some people. And not exploring anything else about myself. Also, I was grown up, raised in like a kind of strict home and a religious home. And I had a sister who was raised in the same environment and she didn't go kind of this like me. Like that's just an interesting detail. But anyway, I was just always the pest in the family. So I don't know. I was just really distracted by my family and like not pursuing anything specific and getting into thinking it's a display of my strength if I can do more than you can with like consuming alcohol or anything.
Okay. Yeah. So you were kind of just living in this sort of like, how can I stand out and get attention?
Yeah, I guess.
But I also am hearing that you were sort of living a default life, like not a chosen life.
Yeah, that's very notable. Also, I did go to school because my family really, really encouraged that. And we're like, there's going to be a day where you're going to be up for a job and somebody parallel to you, equally qualified, plus has a master's. And so like, I was like, so I did that, got that out of the way. Not even I have a master's in merchandising. I'm not even using it. And I don't know, I've just been lost in like my selection of jobs and not have a beautiful picturesque story of you get the master's, you get out, you get the job that it's all you're meant for and you excel and you get paid well. Like that was not my story. It was more random, like who would hire me. And they were just such odd jobs and I made bad decisions because I was increasingly drinking and my priorities didn't exist or something. And basically
let me ask you something about that because I think that that's really common for a lot of people. You mentioned something about what jobs would hire me, who would take me. And I think that that's a theme. That was a theme in my relationship patterns. I was like, well, who will choose me versus what kind of relationship do I want? What kind of life do I want? It's a very different, you know, it's being either the victim consciousness or like, what do I get to have versus what is the life that I get to create? It's a very different energy. And I think it's really common for a lot of women to say, well, I just want to take who will take me, whether it's a job, a career path, or a partner. And I want to mention here, I may come here with comments from the live stream that is in Evolution University, and Ginger Arnold says 18 years recovery here. So yay,
Hey,
congratulations.
Ginger, that's
Right?
awesome.
I love, recovery stories are very near and dear to my heart. I have a brother who's in recovery for over 20 years, and I find the recovery stories, sobriety stories to be so inspiring. And it's just amazing how many people now are discovering recovery in media. So anyway, I didn't want to take you too far off track, but just wanted to say a couple things about choosing a life. So you were living the what kind of life can I have? And it was
Yes.
destroying you through self-sabotage and addiction, it sounds like.
Mhm. And Ginger, it's great to hear success stories. Thank you for sharing. It's always inspiring, of course, and that's a long run. Good job. Seriously, it's not easy. So,
Right.
and then Gina, I think you actually like hit the nail on the head with comparing it to that relationship thing. What I was saying about my job, who would hire me, and you being like, went, just basically settling for partners.
Yeah.
And then versus even considering like, what do I want? Like that's a whole opposite end of the spectrum. And that is, you could say that has happened to me overall, where I stand now. But did hit rock bottom. I did lose a job based on my own bad decisions, based on drinking, and I totally did it to myself. And
Are you comfortable telling us what rock bottom looked like for you? Because I think for everybody it's different,
I'll
right?
give you a little bit of that. Which was, so I got fired and was on unemployment in this beautiful apartment. And I basically had, 6 months of unemployment to like try to find a job. And I like was put so much time into my resume and like made it sound as good as I could and was really pleased with it and was aiming for higher things and new position opportunities. And basically I wasn't seeing any results like a month and a half in. It was just like really nothing, no progress, and nobody even wanting to interview or anything. And one day I was like, why am I not seeing different results? I feel like I'm worth more. And I had a Monster on one side of my laptop and a bottle of vodka on the other side of the laptop. And it's just, and it wasn't I've already said this on a different video, but it was not an audible voice, but it was a notable voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was not audible, but it was saying like, and I was like, because I was like, why am I not seeing different results? And he was like, and I was like, I'm aware of that, but like, can I just get a job first? Like, can we just revisit that?
I'll
Like,
deal with this when.
yeah,
I'll clean this up when. When the
Surely I
money
can
comes,
still,
when I lose the weight, when these things happen,
surely I can still get what I deserve now, whatever. And that whatever was like, no, now is actually the time that you're supposed to do this. So then I contacted my family and I took much thinking on it. Like I was even like, I thought about it for like 24 hours. Like I was even like, I'll just drink wine. Yeah, I'll just take the
negotiation.
yeah. And then eventually I was like, I actually went to told a friend about it that I made that I was like considering making. She was like, you need to come to my parents. Will you please? She lived like 40 minutes away from me. And it was like really random that she's asking me to come have dinner with her parents. I don't like go have dinner with people's families. That's not a thing that I feel. So
that's not a thing in Kirsten's
I was
life.
like,
I'm sorry.
but it was really random that she asked me. Basically, I went over there and she wanted me to tell her parents the story and what I'm considering. And basically her stepmom is her real dad. Or I think this is the accurate story. Like that's what she is, stepmom. Told this story that they had a daughter who died at 17. Partying.
Ooh.
17. So she basically has a lot of pain and background to speak to that. And she's just really passionate about recovery and stuff. So they were like, you have to, because I was like, I don't want to tell my parents either. Anyways, they were like, you have to tell your parents and you have to go to rehab. And I was like, dang it. So I called my parents and was like the next day, and I was like, so I'm an alcoholic. Will you please watch my dogs? And I need to go to rehab. So then I went to rehab for, it was basically 3 weeks.
So wait, I'm gonna, a couple things here that are going on here that I just want to know, because this is the first time I've heard this story. You know, I've known you almost 4 months, and don't know this chapter, and it's fascinating because I want to point out a couple of things. So you had the voice, or the nudge, the intuition saying, stop that. And you tried to negotiation, but then something got you to call this particular friend.
Yeah.
Something got her to say, okay, we need to act on this. And she knew, you need to come to my house, talk to my parents, learn my family's experience. Those are all significant little miracles. Would you
agree?
Right?
Very notable.
And you were resistant to telling people, but you did. You came out with it. It sounds like it was a real clear line of demarcation. I made this decision and then I just acted. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I even, after I told my parents I was gonna check into rehab, but it was still like 2 a day or something before I was able to go over there. I one time drove to this rehab that I like Googled nearby. I was like 15 minutes away, and like went in. I was just gonna like check it out one evening.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like dip my toe in the water or whatever. And they had me fill out some paperwork, and it was like I would be the patient and I had to answer some questions, and it turned into them like bringing me into this back room. And I just thought I was doing like a normal intro something. And they had me like blowing a breathalyzer, and it didn't pass. But I didn't even think twice. I don't even know if they told me it didn't pass. They just like left me in the room and like closed the door and were like, we'll be right back. Basically, it was like 10 or some long amount of minutes later, like 15, I don't know. But I like stuck my head out. I was like, excuse me, hello. And like somebody came back in there, and I was like, what's going on? And they were like, oh, well, you didn't pass the breathalyzer, so we can't like let you drive. So you have to basically like sit here until. So I basically drank before going to check out this rehab. That was just that seemed like a good decision when I did it.
Right. And you didn't even think, you were at that space where you didn't even think, well, it wasn't even a thought to think. It's just like, this is what I do.
That's just to be clear, I was an at-home drinker. I would bring vodka places, but I would drink on my own all the time. And they kept me there for like 3 hours, and it was horrible, and it was like a taste of what would come, but I still wasn't ready. But yeah, fast forward to, because that was like a Thursday, so then that Sunday I was gonna go in. I was at my parents' at this point, and I was gonna go in the next day to whatever rehab would work. And I remember telling my mom, so I was already not drinking for 24 hours, but I told her, I was like, I feel like, when you get butterflies for someone and you're attracted to them and you just want to get to know them more, I was like, I feel like I'm getting butterflies for myself. Like there's someone inside me, and they're like,
whoa,
still here, been here the whole time.
Wow.
And I still have interests and all this cool
stuff to
do together. And like, if you want to hang out is basically. And
with yourself.
With myself. So
I love that.
That's a big thing that this has all been for me, is like a journey with getting to know myself, and it's been really enriching. To end that story of my rock bottom, I did not find a job in time. I did lose that apartment. I have a great family where, oh my gosh, this is too much information, but so was able to move back with my parents. Like,
I think these things, these little vulnerable shares, are the information that people you may not know, somebody needs to hear. You know what I mean? Where for you it may be scary, and and you don't have to share, but whatever comes through comes through. And I'm watching the comments. Anybody who is watching in the group, if you have any questions or comments for Kirsten or me, I'm watching the comments over here. That's why I keep kind of looking over that direction. So feel free to ask. But yeah, if you're comfortable sharing, share. And if you want to say, oh, that feels like too much, you can stop.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was basically the rock bottom was, like no money, no job, can't apply anywhere, like nobody will interview with me, like, and I'm just like drinking myself into my grave. And
Mhm.
and that like weird audible, it was an audible voice situation happened. Yeah, and then I still, I lost, oh my gosh, I lost my apartment. That was like super, super painful because I was really proud of my independence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was, and it was the coolest apartment I'd ever had. So it was just like, had a lot of nature around it. TMI. Okay, the other big thing is I had two big dogs that were like my children,
Mm.
just testing me. They both ended up dying that summer.
I'm sorry.
Moved back in like June, and like a month and a half later, like they both passed away at the same time. And like that was like life changing. You lose like both your children basically.
Yeah. Wow.
One of them was sick of cancer, and the other one, and it was like he needed to be put down, or his quality of life would have been much, much worse quickly. And the other was like aggressive with my dad's baby boxer. So it was just like, it is what it is. And that was like hella painful. And so I've just been carrying on like really by myself, but things have been good with my family. Nobody would hire me for a while, and then I ended up getting a job at Target, and I was like a manager there. After like 9 months, they promoted me to a manager or something like that, or maybe it was like a year. But no, I think it was the last 9 months I was there. That's when I was like a team lead. And it is a manager. You are directly managing like 35 people. And that was really cool to see that capability within myself, that I've never been a manager before. So as much as I was not like super proud that I was working at Target, like that was a little problem for me. But I to myself, and I'm not social, so it's fine. But I could be proud of like, wow, you're like taking on more responsibility. Like they chose you. Look, you're doing good, blah, blah, blah. So, but now I just recently started at a company where it is less corporate-y, and I'm really enjoying it. I needed something where I could be like more grounded and more like focusing, like not having to be so cookie cutter. The cookie cutter thing was not
Right. Where you could shine like bring you to the
yes,
position.
and just kind of contribute. Yeah, contribute and everything be good. So I'm
You're a
doing
valued member of it. You're an integral and valued member of this team. Even if you were in your previous position, but that didn't align with your ultimate vision. And when you came in, when you and I are intersected and came across each other's paths, you were ready to really take things to a new level.
Yes.
And you're not pleased about your job at Target.
Yes.
But you were proud of your progression there, but you were ready to go bigger.
Yes, I in fact discovered Miss Gina Brogan when I was YouTube searching videos titled like change your vibration to match change your frequency to match the vibration. I forget, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Basically like up level your vibration to achieve what you want to achieve, basically. And I like stumbled across one of her videos, and that just got so I basically didn't even really know what manifesting was until 4 months ago. I didn't realize I was doing it if I was ever doing it, but now I'm really aware and I'm all on board. And I think it also ties into the fact that I feel present. That's very important in my story. 2 weeks after
Mhm.
from rehab, a neighbor, so this is me on my patio at my apartment, a neighbor was like, "Hey, where have you been?" And I was like, "Oh, rehab." He was like, and I don't know, I told him, like, he was like, "How do you feel?" And I was like, "Oh, present." So that has been like new, like, because I was like escaping for so long. I didn't even realize it,
Right.
but
Right.
it's just like you're
Mhm.
just so present. And so and journaling's a big thing. I'm big on journaling. That's
Mhm.
a healthy practice for getting to know yourself.
Was that something you picked up in rehab? Because it's interesting because a lot of people talk about rehab. It doesn't always work. It's not the thing, but feel like maybe the difference with your story versus a lot of other people's story is you had that calling from within and it was your choice. But were there specific things that you can look back into your rehab experience and say, this really, really helped me?
You know what? I do want to touch on that regarding it being my choice. I realize that I'm blessed to have that be the situation because
Right.
there were several people in the rehab that you could kind of tell it was kind of for someone else, like maybe
Mhm.
up front, and that they were wanting to repair that relationship or stabilize that relationship and
Right. They were doing it for an external
for the
reward,
relationship.
not because they have butterflies for themselves. I
No.
love that.
So,
I have butterflies for the person I am. That's
so
so fabulous.
I do feel that I'm a bit of an alien in that regard, but I am very grateful
Yeah.
to be on this journey. I'm just so excited. I feel, and you do have to at first when you're present or taking the time to explore within yourself what your interests are and stuff. You got to sift through stuff and try stuff, and it might not all be the right thing, but you learn and you only move forward and you are only redirected somewhere. You learn something else about yourself that helps you walk in the right direction.
Right. What people consider to be setbacks, mistakes, failures, or challenges, they're actually growth opportunities. It's the way I look at it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't expect that. That didn't go the way I wanted. But now I understand why I had to have that experience so that I could build a skill, reframe, or change something.
And there we are
And
again of talking about victim versus taking.
exactly. Victim versus creator consciousness. Exactly. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you.
And it's like an amazing switch of like, once you see that being like, ooh, like you slow down, you're like, wait a second, like, what if I could just do this? And so it is a practice throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you always fall back into like regular humanity stuff.
Yeah, I think our default, either through conditioning or just as for survival instincts, is to default to the fear or what's going to keep me alive. And that's what's easy to fall into. And it takes an extra choice to shift into, but this is the vision, this is what I choose to believe. I choose a new truth or I choose a new reality. And that takes a little bit of inertia. You got to get through that inertia to get out of that default. Because the way I look at it, tell me what you think about this, is like we've got our brains, our mind, our body, and our soul or heart, right? And our brains, our intelligence, it's designed to keep us alive. Like, okay, where are the lions and tigers? We're always looking out for danger. It's very highly developed, our senses, our five senses. And then our heart this is the frosting on the cake, the color in the flower, this is the joy of life. And each and every one of us has a different flavor for joy. When we don't let the heart develop, we're not feeding it and practicing it because we're stuck in the conditioning of fear, then this becomes very underdeveloped. But when we start to develop it, we're developing our intuition, our intuitive guidance. And that is so much more powerful as a guide, as an inspiration. So when we get our heart working in conjunction and in balance with our mind, and we interpret our body is the intersection. It interprets information through cravings, through feelings and all that. Then we're working in alignment. And that's when a lot of magic happens. And you're teaching, you want to bring magic to people's lives, if I understand correctly.
Oh,
and help
yes.
people.
That's an important point.
Yeah. What is your vision?
Yeah, so if I can just nutshell jump to that, basically, I feel called to go to California. By the way, I live in Texas. I want to move to California and pursue acting. I want to be a film actress, not sure. So
Either.
I am super confident and stoked to like do that life. I've been researching like where I will live, and depending on cost, if it's going to be like I get my own apartment or if I'm doing a room with several people in a nice house. Like,
so that's a lot of the intellectual practicalities. What are the other things you're doing to bring yourself to California? Do you want to speak about that a bit at all?
So to bring myself to California. So
the more
right now I'm also focused on emphasis on why I'm not going already is I want to spend a little more time focusing on family, finances, and fitness.
Ooh, 3 F's.
That's what I have been like telling plus I just got this new job, so I'm like gonna, give them an amount of time. I don't know. Let's not talk about that. But
But there's something you're doing daily in your habits,
yes, I am being there now. So that's a big part of what I've been working with Gina on, and what I've been teaching myself and exploring for myself is like a day in the life of, if that were my life, what do I really, really want at the end, or at like a really great time, like, and then just like going there and spending time there. And like I will literally be driving down the street and I'll just pretend like there's palm trees on both sides of me, or I'll be like in the bathroom at a store and be like, or at my job and be like, but I'm gonna emerge out of this bathroom and be on set, and they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, Kirsten, get over here. And so just like going there now.
So you're using your imagination and you're feeding your vision with fun, lighthearted ideas that feel good. And you're just practicing it. Like Joe Dispenza says, rehearsing your future memories.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm really curious about this, like calling it in. And I believe, why not? And I believe in pursuing what is calling to me the most. And I do have more to that. Like, okay, so there's like being a successful actor.
And this is part of what you want to teach people, right? This is part of your purpose and mission.
I want to use
in
that
your acting.
Yes. Yeah. I want to use that platform to be like, hey guys, by the way, how I got here is by listening to myself and setting aside any fears and following what my greatest desires were and believing it's absolutely possible, and like just jumping time and just like taking the reins of your life. That's a big part of my message. It's like taking the reins of your life and honoring your authentic self and as every way possible, and just continuing to explore. And you do have to revisit like all the time. Like you can fall into slumps about like the reality in front of you, but just continue.
Do you have examples of you doing that? Like, can you share like, oh, I remember recently I was feeling this way, but then I was able to shift my thoughts and I know I put you on the spot asking you this.
It's okay. I have an example I shared recently on a different video that I have been going to the gym a lot. Remember, fitness. I've been going to the gym. This is my 3rd week in a row. Oh, I just finished it. That I've been going Monday through Friday. So I'm like really proud of myself. Woo! And it was like last Sunday or Saturday. I had just done, on the weekend, I don't go into the gym and I do stuff like abs if I'm being good, and because I don't like doing abs in front of people. So I'll just like do a good set here. And so I had already done abs that morning, but that got me watching YouTube videos of like all these fit people. And it's to learn tips, but I'm all these like really beautiful people. And I'm like, golly, like, 'cause on one side, I'm totally proud of myself. Like, you've been days in a row, you just did an ab workout this morning. Look at you spending time like learning more moves you can do. And then like in the blink of an eye, you're like, oh my gosh, I got so far to go before I look at that. Like I am you just start thinking negative about how you look and where you are and your circumstances, and that I don't have a pretty apartment like those people in the video. They're so independent and successful. Like I'm here with my situation, and I want to be like, just getting like that. And so
what did you do?
I personally, the thing that I've been enjoying recently is I bought some clothes that make me
ooh, nice.
Like just some casual, like just get something new that like makes you feel happy. I recommend Old Navy. Like it's cheap and randomly cute.
So let me ask you, what did you do in that moment when you were comparing? Because we know comparison is the thief of joy.
I came into my room and I put on workout clothes that I had just bought myself. I really like, and I just like looked at myself in the mirror and was like, hell yeah.
Nice.
So that's like an example.
Nice.
You can wear,
and you can compare yourself not to other people who are have different situations, realities, and journeys, but you can compare yourself to like, wow, where was I 3 months ago? 3 months ago.
Point is reminding yourself like, well, what have I achieved? Let's remember what I have achieved.
Yeah. I mean, you've manifested incredible things just recently, and you've got so much that you're creating, and your daily habits are walking you into that life. So you were just saying 3 weeks of Monday through Friday, I haven't missed a day. I'm doing this. That is the shift. Instead of going, oh, look at that guy with the perfect body or that girl with the perfect body in the fabulous apartment. They're not on your journey. And when you look back to, wow, look what I have done. Look at who I am now. That's a whole shift. And I think that that's something to remind people to celebrate.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a thought and I lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I kind of, before we go too far, I really love your story about when you were at a crossroads recently, a fork in the road.
Yeah.
You had started your new job. Was that, no, or was it in the past? I heard you tell this story recently on a Facebook Live, and I was blown away by like, that is so symbolic of how far you've come.
That was, the story goes, it was my first day out of rehab. So my first day like behind a wheel, heading home. And I just had this awareness of like, it was like a 30-minute drive. And I was, oh my gosh, like life is really just like a fork in the road. Because I could either, there's so much alcohol, like places I could go to get alcohol right now. It's so easy. I could do it and nobody would know.
Nobody would know.
And like then just deciding, so that's the familiar. And there's the familiar and the unfamiliar. So that's the familiar, is doing what you know. But we also know what those results are. And those aren't going to change. Like you've been there. Or do you want to do the unfamiliar and see what happens? You got to take it day by day. You got to take it moment by moment and situation by situation. But like we all know have seen this. So
Mhm.
why don't you like give it a shot? So that was a big scale fork in the road.
And you did not
Oh, by the
turn
way,
into, you did the unfamiliar, the little bit scary, the little bit different, and you got different outcomes. You stayed
yes.
off that hamster wheel and that cycle of addiction and self-abuse.
Yes. I want to mention real quick, just for the video or whatever. So my vision and intention, again, just emphasis on when I get big, I want to like help alcoholism, male and female. I want to. The house I went to was called. It doesn't matter what it was called, but it was for women who specifically struggle with alcoholism, and I thought that it would be cool to open up. First of all, make that like global, and then second of all, open up a men's one if they had like a brothers one.
Uh-huh.
So, but then also helping with like plenty of other recovery stuff. Like that'll be a side main focus. So it's just like contributing and encouraging and helping everybody like step into their best selves and shake off the demons that have been holding us.
Yes, yes. And I love your vision. You've got a few different, some other things that I want to talk about in a minute that you, as a result of your journey, you've created. But I remember a bigger fork in your road where you got a call from the pharmacy saying, hey, your prescription is ready to pick up.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that just has to do with like why I stopped Adderall, because I did like several days back once I was home. I was like got a notification that like my Adderall refill was, because I had stopped doing Adderall when I went into rehab just because they take all your stuff. But so I still hadn't done it. And anyway, got a notification that it would be ready. And like I was like, oh my gosh, I started justifying. I was like, just go ahead and get it. I mean, that stuff is tough to come by. You won't do it. Just like, and then other side was like, I mean, you went to rehab for alcoholism. Like, this isn't alcohol. Like,
Technically, it's still not a big deal.
yeah, but
And for people who don't know, Adderall is a stimulant. It's methamphetamine based, essentially. It's speed.
It's an upper.
Which is very useful to treat certain challenges. I think there are certain positive uses for it. It is very highly addictive and people abuse it. And that is a big problem in especially young people who were prescribed it as kids.
Yes.
I know that
They
there
take
are
way too many milligrams of it.
Yeah, and it becomes easier and easier to just get more higher prescriptions. And so now there's a lot of our general population who's actually addicted to Adderall. I have a son who is suffering with that physical desire to, he finds it hard to engage in life without it, because the right dose helps him focus, it helps him be social and speak, just actually literally get out of bed and function as somebody who can go to a job and interact with people. Very, very effective in getting him moving forward in life. But when he's unable to have it rationed out to him, he abuses it. And that does not turn out well for him. So he's kind of working on, he's trying to, work on managing his own addiction around that. And sometimes,
I give him kudos for for acknowledging it and trying to reduce that.
Yeah, he recognizes it's quite a struggle. And so we're working on it as a family, but I just wanted to just give people who weren't aware of what Adderall is, that's what it is. And so you are faced with this another crossroads, which when you told that story and I first heard it, I'm like, that was really powerful for me to hear, because It's those little tiny choices we make when nobody's looking. Nobody's going to find out. Nobody has to know this. Technically, I went to alcohol rehab. What's the big deal? But something inside you said what?
Yeah. So basically I went ahead and called, I ordered the prescription or whatever, or I set it on my app. I don't know. So it was like being prepared, would be ready in an hour. And I'm into like Oracle and tarot. Like I enjoy randomly seeing what like I have decks of my own, and they have cool spiritual messages in their guidebooks. And like, I don't know, sometimes I'll pull a card and I'll read whatever and see if it's a relevant message for me. And it's, I enjoy that a lot. So I was like waiting for my stuff to be filled, and I was like, I'll just pull an Oracle card from this one deck. And here, I'll read the message, since I know Gina would probably.
Thank you. I found this to just be mind-blowingly awesome.
Well, basically, I pulled this card, and the message said, beware of dependency. Absinthe mermaid. Okay, it's just, this is a mermaid deck. Anyway, she has wallowed in her addiction for too long. She has become languid. Languid, FYI, means lacking in vigor or vitality, slack or slow, lacking in spirit or interest, indifferent, drooping, or like faint. Drooping or flagging? Okay, drooping from weakness or like faint. Okay, yeah. So that's how she's become. You have also spent too long immersed in an addiction or dependence. Addiction and dependence suppose energy and rob one of vitality and strength. Something in your life, a substance, an obsession, or an unhealthy relationship is draining your life essence, and you need to let it go. Seek assistance from a trusted friend, a wise person in your community, or a professional to help rid you of your unhealthy attachment before it's too late. Once you have escaped, reevaluate your life and take stock of your frailties. What led you down the path of addiction and dependence in the first place? What steps can you take to avoid stumbling down that rabbit hole again? And so I read that and was like, really?
What was the card? I mean, that is like, could you get a more clear sign from spirit? What was the actual card? Do you know the actual card?
Oh, it was Absinthe Mermaid. I'll see.
Absinthe Mermaid. Okay. Yeah. You don't have to find it now.
Okay, cool. But yeah,
this
is like a 48 card deck, and of all the messages, like that one jumps out. So I just remember like going back to my bedroom, calling CVS. Like basically I sat there for a minute with my head down, like knowing the heaviness.
Right.
Yes, and I was like, please cancel my prescription. And like, that was it. And I just never did it again.
Wow.
I was very fortunate. And I'm aware of how that stuff will get me. So I would have to just probably always say no.
Right, right. And we can always just justify, it's just a little bit. It's just this.
And it's just Adderall, but hey, what goes up must come down. So that probably ultimately leads you to like needing a downer. Like,
right, that you were in that cycle.
For Kirsten.
Yeah, right. The roller coaster look is not a good look. Yeah. You were in the cycle of taking the Adderall to get through your day and do whatever, and then you needed the alcohol to bring you down, and then it was just like around and around.
I was like a champion alcoholic because I was on Adderall. So much Adderall.
Right, right. So Spirit was talking to you so clearly. That is such a gift that you just were like, I'm going to just pull a card. And it was, there couldn't have been a more clear message.
Of all the decks and all the cards.
That right there was so powerful. So that was another fork in the road that literally changed the trajectory of your life and has led you on a really pretty solid path to living in the present moment, recognizing, observing your thoughts and actions and emotions, and practicing tuning into faith, always practicing. You've had some fearful things come up, you know, around like little things around money here and there. And you keep turning up the dial into faith. And what is the next thing? And so another thing I want to make sure our listeners or viewers understand about you is your magic lotion potion.
Awesome. I forgot all about that. Very
This gorgeous, delicious
okay.
buttercream.
So attention. I have, okay. So one thing I
Can you
didn't,
tell the story about it?
yeah, one thing I didn't mention, I forgot to mention is that I also struggled from a skin picking situation. It was like anxiety ridden, probably due to the alcohol and the Adderall. I suffered from that for like easily 4 or more years, where I was just attacking my arms. Like, you might not be able to notice, but I would have wounds all over my arms. I have tattoos, so it kind of blend into my tattoos, but which was cool for me because I could attack myself and like nobody would really notice. But
Nobody knew.
so I'd be just like wandering around on my skin, on my thighs or my arms or my face even, and I would just be looking like I'm doing this, but I'd be like attacking myself and not letting it heal. So that's an
Yeah.
something that occurs, and it's a big struggle. That actually took me 9 months after sobriety, 9 additional months before I finally got a hold on my skin picking, because I was still picking. And so that was its own monster. And I did many different tactics before I finally like stopped. And it really was, sadly, unfortunately, like a mental thing. Like it just like choosing, and that was what to do. And you just gotta, I guess, continue like reminding yourself of all the benefits if you did have good skin, like versus continuing in the familiarity of the pick, you know? This whole suffering with the skin thing, struggle is real. Over the years, I spent a lot of money on Etsy trying to find product that would heal my skin, the wounds I was causing myself, which is never going to happen, by the way, because if I'm actively attacking myself, there's no way any product is going to like fix the problem, because so you can't even know if a product is like, give it a real chance if you're attacking the spot that you're putting it on.
Right.
I spent a lot of money on a lot of different products, and then basically like 3 years ago got inspired to design my own lotion, because I wanted to just like, why not spend the money on the resources and do it myself and make something that meets all of my needs, and then I just have access to it at all times. And wouldn't that be cool? And so for whatever reason, I randomly like got inspired to like do research and start acquiring ingredients and stuff like that over like a year process. And then about 2 years ago, I finally started making it. And I didn't, as you know, I've been going through a very lonely chapter-ish, like in my personal life. So like outside of work or whatever. So I didn't have like many people to let try my lotion or something. So I gave it to a couple people for like Christmas. I got good feedback, but it just, and then the pandemic happened. So it was not really a good time for like you to be like giving handmade lotion to people. So now that stuff is like calming down, I asked some people at my previous job, like, would you even, because I'll make it for myself and I want to make more to let other people try it, because I'm curious if it's good for other people. But so anyways, I asked, but I'm not going to make more if I can't give it to people. So I asked, like, would you want it if I made you handmade? And they were like, yeah. So I was like, okay. And that began the journey of like me going ahead and taking it seriously, of like, I don't know, I just decided to look into it more. So I have an Etsy shop. I just opened it today, basically. So it's brand spanking new, but it's got my lotion available there. And I don't know, Gina's got a way of like informing you of some discount codes I have. Like,
yeah, you can say 15%.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, like, so.
Oh, I sent Gina some, by the way.
I bought a bottle, 2 bottles, and I love it. I put it on my face every day before I put on my makeup. I love it. It's just feels so rich and smooth and soft. I really adore this stuff, and um, recommend you everybody try it. But you skipped the part about how did it change your skin? Like, did it,
Yeah, it just
what did it do?
it's all natural, organic.
Mhm,
It's got
mhm.
so many essential oils in it. So it just addresses acne, uh, scars, rashes, scrapes, aging. It moisturizes.
Very
Um,
moisturizing. Mhm.
yes, it's buttery. It's a whipped buttery.
It is. It's just so gorgeous. It does look like buttercream frosting. I kind of want to taste it, but I know not to. But
So
it's really fabulous. And so
I was curious how it would travel too. Like,
yeah.
like so Gina lives in many states away from me. So that was a great little test. And she says it showed up
Mhm.
great. So
Yep.
I'm
It
just
traveled well.
excited to have Gina encouraging me to, share this and be official and stuff. So
So
yeah,
you have, I mean, you've been very busy, Kirsten. You have, like, you started this new job, which has in some ways really opened up your schedule and your ability to practice habits of mind and body and health and spirit. And in the weekends, in your free time, you've been creating more lotion. You've created packaging. You've designed beautiful, gorgeous packaging, which you just sent me. You've created your Etsy store. And
you can
like,
see my new labels on the Etsy store.
yeah, so we will, in the comments in the live stream, we will put the 15% code, so you can save 15% on jars of this lotion that is absolutely divine and all natural and ingredient or organic ingredients, made, handmade, and mixed by Kirsten, and the link to her store. And you look like you're going to say something.
Also, you can put it anywhere, basically, like
Mhm.
butt, legs,
Mhm.
face, back, all the goods.
So it's not just for the face, it's for the whole
Right.
body. Yes.
Yeah.
And it is really quite divine. So I highly recommend you check it out. Also, so we're going to wrap this up, and I just want to say thank you so much for your time. And I'm really excited to continue watching your journey unfold, because in the short period of time, I've got some fly around here. That's why I keep doing this. That we've known each other. You have absolutely transformed your life in many, many ways. Some ways to you, you're doing it day in and day out. It might feel like a snail's pace, but looking at it from my perspective, I see you manifesting miracles in all these big and little ways. I love your recovery journey. I love the message that you're taking into the world, and that you will be on a big stage, a much bigger stage, as an actor. And so Kirsten, you can follow her on YouTube, on Instagram. And what is the name? You've got Roots Revival.
Divine Roots Revival. That's DIVINE. Roots Revival. So I
And we,
have
yeah,
no social media background really.
right.
So I like just started those platforms recently, but I like kind of was putting some videos out, trying to share just whatever's on my mind. But yeah, that the Etsy thing, I'm really curious to see like if any of y'all check that out.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to say that like the yeah, how it's basically this is a real life journey, and I think that all the like it not being as quick as I might maybe in some version want it to be, like this is actually realistic though, and
Mhm.
as long as you're putting in work, like I'm going to the gym for example, or I'm making
Yep.
this lotion, like I'm just doing things that are like I know it's on the list that's helping me get to.
Right. It's all part of the process of become, but in the present moment, you're just being me. This is who I am. This is what I need to do today. One foot in front of the other. And
Yeah,
magic is showing up for you as
it's tough, but I really do love my life, and I'm grateful for Gina and her perspective and her light. And thanks to you guys for listening and visiting.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. And we're going to put a list of, Kirsten has shared with me a list of reading favorite people she loves to follow, reading wise. And we've got her Etsy store with the coupon code. We'll put links to your YouTube channel, your Instagram feed, and your Facebook is right here. We can, Kirsten Vitela.
Cool.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Your story is fascinating, and I know that you're going to inspire a lot of people. So thank you so much.
Thanks for the encouragement.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. So let me see here. Thank you guys. She's amazing. And check out her links below and enjoy everything that you do today.